Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm glad to be here again with Monday Morning Motivation. I hope you guys are as well. I'll pause for just a moment of silence. No, I'm just kidding. I'll pause for just a moment for a few folks to get on if you'd like to. I know some folks like the experience of going live, so I'll wait here just a moment, okay? Good morning, good morning. How we doing, Brother McBride and Ms. Patterson? I just mentioned that I know some folks like to go through the experience live, so just bear with us for a moment as we allow some people to get on. I know we'll have other people that will watch. Good morning, good morning. I see people popping up. Be motivated this morning, okay? Be motivated. So I'll go ahead and share with you, for those that are here, what's going on in my life. So the nugget for today is dedication and being dedicated to your purpose, okay? Don't allow anything major or minor or major, to stop you from being dedicated to your purpose. So my wife and I were operating on very little sleep this morning. And, we kind of had a talk about whether or not I'd be doing this today. And I said, no, we actually need to do this. This is something that I've committed to, and this is something that obviously that you have committed to. So it's important that we're here. But I tell you something, when you found something that is a purpose for you, you found something that you have determined to do, don't allow anything major or minor to stop you. Okay, that's the nugget for today. All right, moving forward. Good morning again for those that are here joining us. Those of you that saw the Facebook post yesterday, hopefully you have an idea of what we're talking about today. If not, maybe you know from listening in to our last video. So we're talking about cultivating an environment in which to provide for opportunities when you're servicing multiple areas or multiple goals. Okay, so we know that in this multifaceted world that we live in, that many of us are not just doing one thing, right? We're doing multiple things because there are lots of opportunities. We have technology. There are lots of different ways to move forward in our career, move forward in our destinies, right? So let's talk about some of those things. So I'm very excited to share with you a tool that I'm sticking with, a tool that is very helpful to me, very beneficial. And so we'll talk about how to use that tool in just a moment, if you'll stick with me. So let's review. Last week we talked about roadblocks, right? We talked about those New Year's resolutions and why they're ineffective. But in terms of that, let me ask you a few questions. Hopefully you form some questions. Let me do this. As you're listening, you should be forming questions within your own mind about how you're going to move forward. It's great that you're here listening to me. It's great that you listen to other people. But the person that's going to move the needle in your life is you. The person that's going to be able to move forward in life, that's going to get you forward in life, is yourself. So as you listen to me or as you listen to other people, form your own questions that are going to move you forward. But I've got a few questions for you. What roadblocks since last week have you set in place that's going to keep you from going back to the old you? What roadblocks have you set in place that's going to keep you from going back to the old you? And then the other question, what sources have you identified that are going to move you or propel you into the things that you want to do? They're going to keep you from retracting back, as we talked about last week with the rubber band, that are going to ultimately propel you. Maybe there are some books, maybe there are some CDs, maybe there are some podcasts or YouTube videos that you watch. There have to be multiple sources. And lastly, what public accountability network have you set in place? Church family, your own family, a community of friends, community of cohorts, whatever you choose. If you're listening to these videos, begin to formulate your own questions, okay? All right, so let's move forward. As we talked about the post, we saw two different areas. We saw two different yards or two different gardens, and we saw one was well manicured. We saw there was a lot of color, a lot of excitement around that yard. It was very intentional in terms of the person that put the landscaper that put that together. And the other, there was really not much intention to it, right? It was just greenery. It was there. what appeared to be abandoned shack. You had weeds growing in the area, still green, but there was not a lot of organization to it. And so there was not a lot of, there was not there was one area or one of those yards in which there was a desired outcome. And you could see that clearly. You could see that the artist or the landscaper had a desired outcome for that yard and for that garden. Yet the other, there was no clear intent and there was no clear outcome from that garden. And so I pose this question: which one is true for you in your life currently? Is there a clear intent and purpose for your life? Or is there not a clear intent and purpose for your life? Whichever it is right now, it's okay, because that's why we're moving together in Motivation Monday, okay? So, getting into these tools, or this tool that I use, the way to use this tool, it does this. There's certain functions of the tools. It is to help you focus in on the things that are important to you. I have 3 things that are important to me right now, 3 top priorities in my life. And there are 11 different areas that help me to focus in and pinpoint the things that I need to do on a daily basis, okay? So it's going to help you focus. The second thing is it's going to help you to set the things that are reoccurring or recurring on autopilot, So these are things like bills, these are things like chores, these are things that you do on a daily or weekly basis, but it helps you to organize these things a little bit better. But perhaps it can, like I said, it can be used interchangeably with whatever goals that you have, okay? So let's jump right into it. Those that have been with me long enough to hear me talk about the diamond principles and the fact that I've set diamond principles because diamond is a precious word. So I want to associate things that I do with diamonds because diamonds are precious to me. Okay, here is my Diamond Priority Notebook. Now I know it's probably inverted when you see them, but it says Diamond Priorities, okay? So here's my black binder. This black binder is something that I'm able to live by, something that I'm able to use as a tool to move forward in my life. We've already talked about 2 tools in our times together. We talked about the Visionary Journal, and we've also talked about our planner, right? So this does not have to replace the Visionary Journal. It does not have to replace the planner. However, it can. Okay, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So this binder here, as we move forward, and I open on the inside, the first is faith. I've talked about those 3 areas that are important to me: faith, family, and purpose. So it's organized by that. As I flip forward, I have a table of contents here, not to get in the way here, but I have a table of contents that I move forward with. And I've got some loose sheets that I'm going to show you. And then if you can see here on the side, I've also have things tabbed out. Okay, so I have everything labeled. I have everything tabbed in terms of what I need to focus on in those 3 areas that I mentioned. And so now I want to show you some of these samples. Okay, so here is a checklist from my faith diamond principles. So this checklist, as you can see, is kind of colored. I've got some things going on and kind of colorful. Have fun with this. As you're setting goals, you don't want to get caught up in mundane tasks and to-do lists and checklists. Anybody can do that. You want to do something that allows you to have fun. And so I've got stars and ribbons on my checklist that allow me to have fun with it. And as I've completed a task, hey, I get to color for the day. You know, every day I get to color in something because I've completed a task. Okay, so that's a checklist. Now I also have a sample of a activity sheet. Okay, so as you see this, you see I've got some things circled on there. You see I've got some columns on there. Let me explain what's going on here. So this activity sheet is my family activity sheet. This allows me to focus in on what I want to do or how I can help my family daily. So one of the family diamond principles that I have is to support my wife and to support my children. So this is sort of my menu of things that I can do to support my wife and that I can support my children here. So I have some fun with it. Just to read off a few of these things, I've got, like prepare bottles. I've got, ask what I can do to help. I've got watch the children, things that are important, right? I've also got things on a weekly basis that I can do with my wife and that I can do with my children. Things like quality time, family game night, fun night out. But the thing is, it already sets in motion the things that I want to do so that I don't have to think about them. Okay? And last thing, this is my professional grid. This is my professional work grid. So this is the area of purpose. So going across are the days in the week, and going below or going down are the areas of focus. Okay? So as you can see here, I've got some things filled out. I've got some things written in there. And so what I do, or how I use this, is I jot down daily notes. I jot down things that are important that help me to focus on those daily activities, things that are going to help me to sharpen myself mentally, sharpen myself physically, that allow me to focus on the operations that I need to focus on, or even focus in on client growth, or sustaining or maintaining the clients that I have. So these things are very important. It's not just, as I talked, familial or relational, but it's also a professional tool. So I wanted to show you the versatility of the tool and being able to use that and incorporate that into your own life. Okay? A couple of points. If this is something that you want to use, first off, I'm available to help. Inbox me. Some information, maybe what you're looking to do. I'm glad to help you in that regard, or post some comments below. I'll be checking them. If you feel comfortable, you grasp the concept of moving forward, this is what you're able to do. This is what I would recommend, that you start with your checklist first, creating your checklist, because they're going to show you or tell you the things that are important to you. Start with the checklist. Then the activity sheets. Those are the things that are going to help you to complete those daily tasks. As I mentioned, I've got just like that grid, I've got a sheet that helps me to clean up our house, or that helps me to focus on our bills and things that we need to pay, so that I don't have to wait on an email. Look, we're in a socially driven world, which means that a lot of the areas that we use or that we depend on or normally would depend on are saturated. Social media, saturated. Email, saturated. Our mail inbox, saturated. So I've gone back to in some ways a paper-based system that allows me to keep those things clear and pristine. Okay, so that's the purpose of it. And the third, so I mentioned going the checklist and doing the activity sheet. The third thing is, then after you've done those things, go back and make out your table of contents. So you don't want to make out your table of contents until you've done those the checklist and the activity sheet, so you have all of the contents compiled so that you can use it. Okay, this tool is extremely helpful, and as you're using this, I want to receive feedback so that I know how helpful this is for you in your own life. Okay, so this was our time for today. Hopefully you were able to focus in on the fact that we have a tool that helps you to focus in a little better on the things that you want to do. So if you have multiple goals, you can have multiple professional goals. It works the same way. And also it helps you to set those things that you do routinely or religiously on autopilot. It has almost your personal assistant, if you will, free of charge, without hire. And so get into this thing. Again, ask me questions. I'm here to help. And so as we move forward into next week, we're going to be talking about how to control your emotions, or why controlling your emotions is important to your success and moving forward. Okay? So again, thank you for joining us, and have a great Monday. Take care.